In a world with artificial intelligence, how do we transform education? Thanks for tuning in. I'm Daniel Lopez, and this is the AI Education Conversation, where we explore the opportunities, risks, and impacts of AI across education. If you'd like to join the conversation, check out the AIeducationconversation.com. Let's jump in. What's up, everyone? It's been a while since we've explored some AI updates. So, to kick off our week, as you're entering your week here, thought I would share some of the headlines that have been living rent free in my head lately. Well, let's jump right on in. First and foremost, something that I've been thinking a lot about is it seems like in the last couple of weeks here, there have been really high stakes AI partnerships that have emerged. And so, specifically, the two that I'm really thinking about, first and foremost, I know at least in a lot of the circles that I'm engaging with folks in, this was really big news. Arizona State University, they announced a major enterprise partnership with OpenAI. ASU becomes the first higher education institution to form a partnership with the developer of ChatGPT, OpenAI. A couple quick notes from ASU's statement when they announced the partnership. They mentioned that starting in February, ASU will invite submissions from faculty and staff to implement the innovative uses of ChatGPT's enterprise model. The three key areas of the concentration that they're looking for include enhancing student success, forging new revenues for innovative research, and streamlining organizational processes. They also mentioned that their goal is to leverage their knowledge core here at ASU to develop AI driven projects aimed at revolutionizing educational techniques, aiding scholarly research, and boosting administrative efficiency. So, I mean, just to give a quick reaction here, I think my first reaction, honestly, was excitement. I know that in some of the networks that I've been engaging with, reactions were all over the place. Folks correctly brought up concerns around a multitude of different things, such as it's going to cost a whole lot of money for them to partner at $25 a pop or $30 a pop for every student on campus or for every faculty and staff member that they have. So, just thinking through the actual logistics of the financial cost and investment, thinking about the computational power and just the overall physical toll that this is going to have with a school of that size. But I will say, from my perspective, I was really excited. The reason I think I was mostly excited is honestly because of the conversation that I had in December, as you many of you might recall in listening to that episode with, a friend of the show and someone who works at Arizona State University, Bree DeSalt. Bree DeSalt leads the Center for Reinventing Public Education at Arizona State University. And when I had a conversation with Bree in December, she talked extensively about the deep infrastructure that Arizona State has to be able to successfully implement and develop a strong, I think, post secondary institution model for what this type of AI partnership can look like. Given the fact that in the center at FERPE, they're already doing so much research on the AI education landscape. She had mentioned that there's multiple professors and other faculty on campus that were doing so much to train other colleagues there. So it just seemed like if you had to develop a short list of higher education institutions that you'd really want to pilot and be the guinea pig here to explore what this would look like, ASU was definitely on that short list. I'll definitely be paying close attention to their partnership, and I'm definitely curious to see what other higher education institutions or school districts, for that matter, what they can learn from this, and let's see if anyone else follows suit. And so, on a related note, beyond this ASU partnership, there was another really high stakes, large partnership that caught my eye in the last week or so here. The state of Pennsylvania, they became the first state in the United States to also partner with OpenAI to through the exact same ChatGPT enterprise membership. They mentioned that initially they're going to open it to a small number of its state employees, that they're going to be using this ChatGPT's enterprise membership to do things such as copy editing, updating policies, drafting job descriptions, maybe some coding, and then they'll begin rolling it out to broader parts of the state government and different departments. So again, I think very similarly to the ASU partnership, I'm really interested to just see how this goes down because this is very high stakes work. When we talk about higher education institution, the type of data, the type of work that is happening within those walls, just as with the state of Pennsylvania, it's very sensitive information. It's very important that they are navigating through privacy concerns, navigating that sensitive information, and developing appropriate use cases. And I think we're going to get a lot of clearer answers over the next couple of months with these massive partnerships. There's going to be, I think, a lot of learnings that we're going to be able to take back and have conversations about. So that really stood out to me. I think let's turn to another story in medicine that really caught my eye. Derma an AI device which can detect all major skin cancers at a 96% success rate, just received FDA approval. As I just mentioned, the device had a detection success rate of, well, actually between 91 and 96% for the most common skin cancers. And it's just one of many examples that have been starting to pop up over the last few months here of how AIs and machine learning practices in general can really be used to support clinicians with diagnosis and detection in patients. So that really stood out to me. I'm excited to have someone come on to the podcast and really talk with us more about the AI implications in medicine. As you all know, this isn't really an area of expertise, but I'm really excited to just see some of these use cases in the field of medicine and healthcare, as I think we all want improved quality of living. We want to be able to go to the doctor or somewhere else and know that there's great tools, cutting edge tools that can help have us have even enhance our experience and support our doctors. So turning to another update here that really caught my eye in the last couple of weeks, I think my 2024 prediction is appearing to come earlier as we expected here. So in the 2024 prediction episode that I mentioned, I talked about how I thought a lot of mainstream media stories were going to transition from generative AI tools to other areas including AI hardware and potentially some artificial capable intelligence uses. That being said, I think the AI hardware piece of this is already coming true. There's a couple of big stories that caught my eye in the last week here. At the CES 2024 conference about a week ago, really large consumer electronics conference where everybody pays close attention on the new gadgets and gizmos that are coming out. Rabbit Tech announced that their fully AI powered Rabbit R1 device, and if you look at it, I'll put a link in the show notes so that you can see it. Kind of looks like a very red, sleek looking pocket device, almost like a cell phone at a distance, but it's not a cell phone. It's intended to allow everyone to bring an AI large language model with all of those capable use cases that you might have using at your laptop, going onto an app. But it's really intended to be a hardware device that you can use on the go for those in person opportunities where having a large language model might be of value. Similarly, Samsung also just announced that their next Galaxy S24 phone will be AI powered, and it's going to be using Google's Gemini models that were released in the last month here. This is gonna open up some features for Samsung phone, things such as being able to use voice record to quickly not only record the voice, but quickly transcribe, summarize conversations, very similar to a lot of these apps that have started to pop up using that AI technology. They also have this really interesting feature, and in the some of the articles that I link, you'll be able to see it, where you're scrolling through an article, you're scrolling your social media timeline, and you can like physically circle using your finger around something on the phone, such as a word, a sentence, or an image, and it's going to quickly trigger a Google search for that. So that circle motion is going to trigger Google popping up. It's going to instantly search the thing that you're circling. And that's just another feature that is supposed to pop up. And then, of course, it's going to have a lot of these photo and video enhancing things that we've seen great tools like Canva recently announced, where it's very easy to extend a photo, enhance a photo, remove the background, do some of those things, and using AI tools there. And then finally, along the same lines, we're also starting to see car companies follow suit. So interestingly enough, Volkswagen announced that they are going to be adding ChatGPT to their vehicles to enhance the natural language of the car voice assistant that it already has, and also to support in managing basic functions like heating and cooling. So now you'll not only be able to engage with the ChatGPT model, it'll help you, with your navigation, those things, but now it's actually physically controlling small aspects of the vehicle. So just a couple of things that stood out in the realm of AI hardware here that are starting to pop up. Wanted to close with one other interesting but cautionary use case based on the research from Anthropic. Now, if you've never heard of Anthropic before, you have likely heard of their large language model. Their large language model is known as Claude. Oftentimes, when we're talking about ChatGPT, the big competitors that also come to mind tend to be Bard, which is operated by Google, and Claude, which is operated by Anthropic. So Anthropic, the researchers at Anthropic recently released a study which I will link. I found it very interesting because at a high level what they found was that AI models can learn deceptive behaviors, and once they do, it is very difficult. These deceptive behaviors can actually be resilient to some of our traditional AI safety techniques. And the scary part is that they can only present themselves in certain specific situations. So let me contextualize a little bit further to make this clear. They open up in the introduction of this research with a two-sentence descriptor that I thought so eloquently describes what I'm trying to communicate here in the human context, though. So again, from this, think of this model, and they're saying like artificial large language models have the same type of capacity to be able to do this, maybe because of the fact that obviously it's trained on human data, human biases, etc. But the analogy that they provide was this: they said, from political candidates to job seekers, humans under selection pressure often try to gain opportunities by hiding their true motivations. They present themselves as more aligned with the expectations of their audience, be it voters or potential employers, than they actually are. In AI development, both training and evaluation subject to AI systems to similar selection pressures. So they're saying exactly that, right? Where an AI model can be performing as expected 95% of the time, but then they can have these back doors built into them, which are very resilient to safety techniques aren't able to root those back doors out. And they may only present themselves in less than 5% of use cases, but those 5% of use cases can be very scary and can be deceptive. And so that's definitely, I think, a very cautionary tale, something to keep our eye on as we think about some of the concerns around large scale implementation of these AI models, which we're now starting to see as in some of the partnerships that I mentioned earlier. So I think my reaction there is at a high level is let's just hope that as we continue implementing AI models, because it's happening, it's going to continue to happen. And as we continue to learn new use cases, hopefully these researchers can also continue to refine, strengthen, and develop new safety techniques that are actually going to be successful in rooting out some of these back doors and ensuring that these deceptive behaviors are not as resilient. I would say too, from an individual standpoint, if you continue to use tools like ChatGPT on a daily basis, like I do, I use them all the time. I think this is a very good reminder to just don't take anything it shares with you at face value. We've talked a lot about deepfakes as an example and how we need to continue to become more diligent stewards of interrogating the media that we consume in the context of deepfakes. But I also think it's a good reminder of even when we're engaging with our models and not creating deepfakes, we're just getting text back, we're getting citations, etc. Still be very diligent. Try to interrogate these sources. Continue to corroborate with other sources. That being said, I'll close out here. Wishing you a great week. If you have any other stories that have been on your mind recently related to AI or education, reach out to me on LinkedIn and share. I'd love to hear what's on your mind. If you have any other thoughts on today's episode, you can join the conversation at the AIeducationconversation.com. Send me a message on LinkedIn. Humans at the heart of education. I'll see you next episode.